Good morning students, this is Latif sir. In this video I will discuss about naming of certain compounds and what is balance equation, what is a skeletal equation, and how to balance a chemical equation. Okay, in last video I have already discussed about how to write the chemical formula of different compounds. Okay, I have already discussed in the previous video how to write the chemical formula of compound. For example, I am again showing one example how to write the chemical formula of a compound. For example, suppose it is written write the chemical formula of calcium uh, calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate or calcium carbonate, suppose it is the uh, name of the compound. Now what will be the formula of calcium carbonate? Okay, so first you have to write the formula of calcium radical, and you know calcium radical means Ca2 plus and carbonate means CO3 2 minus. First you have to know what are the symbol of different radicals. Okay, just exchange their valency and combine them. Okay, and if there is any common factors of their valencies, then you have to divide by the common factor, highest common factor. Okay, here both charge are same, so it is very simple, just join the two ions Ca and CO3. So CaCO3 is the formula of calcium carbonate. Okay, similarly if the chemical name of the compound is calcium hydrogen carbonate or calcium bicarbonate, then how to write the formula of the compound? So calcium hydrogen carbonate, calcium means calcium radical means Ca2 plus and hydrogen carbonate means HCO3 minus. So first you have to know what are the formulas of different radicals. So calcium means Ca2 plus and hydrogen carbonate means HCO3 minus. So you can see here calcium has +2 charge and bicarbonate or hydrogen carbonate has -1 charge. Okay, that is calcium has valency 2 and carbonate has valency 1. You have to exchange their valency and then you have to join them. Okay, so after joining, the formula of the compound will be CaHCO3 whole twice. Okay, HCO3 whole twice will be the formula of calcium hydrogen carbonate. Calcium hydrogen carbonate or calcium bicarbonate, CaHCO3 whole twice. Okay, you have exchanged the valency of calcium. This is the valency of calcium with the HCO3 and valency of HCO3 radical, that is 1 with calcium. Okay, if it is 1 then it is not required to write. So practice this such type of writing chemical formula of different compound. And today I will discuss about how to write naming of certain compounds. Okay, so naming of certain compounds. First type, a metal and a non-metal, a compound formed by a metal and a non-metal. For example, calcium nitride. In calcium nitride, calcium is metal and nitrogen is non-metal. Okay, so metal is written first, then non-metal, and the suffix "ide" is added to the non-metal. Okay, so when calcium combined with nitrogen, it forms calcium nitride, and the formula is Ca3N2. Similarly, aluminum nitride means Aln. Okay, you have to add ide to the non-metal. Okay, and when the compound is formed by two non-metals, when the compound is formed by two non-metals, the prefix tri or tetra or penta, these prefixes is added to represent the number of non-metals. Okay, so for example, PCl5, PCl5, PCl3, PCl5. PCl3 means phosphorus trichloride. Tri means 3 and chloride means Cl. Okay, so phosphorus trichloride, and PCl5 is phosphorus pentachloride. And now see, when the compound is formed by two elements and one oxygen. Two elements and one oxygen. Okay, so oxygen represent at the end of the formula. Oxygen is represented at the end of formula, and the name of the compound depends on the number of oxygen atom present in the compound. Naming of such compound which are formed by two elements and one oxygen atom, the name of the compound depends on the number of oxygen atom present in the compound. For example, see HClO, HClO2, HClO3, HClO4. In this compound, number of oxygen atoms are different. Okay, if only one oxygen atom is present, then you have to use the prefix hypo. So name of this compound is sodium hypochlorite. Sodium hypochlorite. If the number of oxygen atom is less than 2, then you have to add the prefix hypo during naming of such compound. Okay, similarly NaClO2, it is for this compound you have to use a suffix ite. You have to use a suffix ite. Okay, if the number of oxygen atom is 2, then you have to use a suffix ite, like NaClO2. In this compound, 2 oxygen atoms, so name of this compound sodium chlorite, not chloride. It is sodium chlorite, Rite. Okay, and similarly, if number of oxygen atom is 3, then you have to use a suffix 8. So NaClO3 means sodium chlorate, sodium chlorate. Only NaCl means sodium chloride, only NaCl means sodium chloride, but NaClO2 means sodium chlorite, Rite, and NaClO3 means sodium chlorate. Okay, and if number of oxygen is more than 3, that is NaClO4. In NaClO4, number of oxygen atom is more than 3, so you have to use prefix par. Okay, so name of this compound is sodium perchlorate. The prefix par is used in this case, NaClO4. Okay, so number of such compounds, name of such compounds depends on the number of oxygen atom present in the compound. Now naming of acids like HCl, H2SO4, HF. Name of binary acid are given by adding the prefix hydro and a suffix "-ic" to the name of the second element. For example, HCl is hydro, H for hydro for H, and Cl means chloride, so hydrochloric, because you have to use a suffix "-ic", that is "-ic", to the name of second element, that is for Cl, so hydrochloric acid. Similarly for HF, hydrofluoric acid. Okay, and name of acid containing radical of polyatomic group, like SO4 2 minus, NO3 minus, PO4 3 minus. Okay, so name of acid containing radicals of polyatomic groups are given on the basis of second element present in the molecule, and the prefix hydro is not used in these cases. Okay, that's why the name of H2SO4 is sulfuric acid, not hydrosulfuric acid. Okay, name of H2SO4 is sulfuric acid. Similarly, name of HNO3 is nitric acid. Okay, so name of this type of acid containing radicals of polyatomic group are given on the basis of second element present in the molecule. Similarly, H3PO4, in H3PO, the second element is phosphate, so name of this compound is phosphoric acid. In H2SO4 second element is sulfate, so name of this acid is sulfuric acid. In HNO3 the second element is nitrogen, so name of this acid is nitric acid. Now see trivial name. Trivial name means some common name. There are some compounds which have some common names like ammonia for hydride of nitrogen. It is used ammonia. Okay, so thus there are certain compounds with names that do not follow any systematic rule. Such names are called trivial or common names. Okay, and they are widely accepted. Nitrogen trihydride, that is NH3, is called ammonia. H2 has common name water. Okay, that is hydrogen monoxide is also called water. So these are common name. Now calculation of valency from the formula is given. Okay, so here you have to assume valency of hydrogen is always 1, valency of oxygen is 2, valency of chlorine 1. Okay, on the basis of these values you can calculate valency of other elements in a compound. Okay, so to calculate the valency from the formula, the valency of the element can be determined based on the knowledge of valencies of negative radical and of the fact that the valency of hydrogen is 1, valency of oxygen is 2, and valency of chlorine is 1. Okay, using this value you can calculate the valency of other element in a compound. For example, one example is given in NO2. In NO2 valency of oxygen is 2, so in NO2 two oxygen are there. Okay, so first interchange the subscript and write as superscript. So the formula is NO2. After interchanging the subscript and after writing as superscript, it becomes N2, N2 and O1 as a power. Okay, and now the valency of oxygen is taken as 2. Therefore multiply both this superscript by 2. Valency, valency of oxygen is 2, so now multiply both the valencies by 2, both, so it becomes N4O2. N4. This result give the valency of the element, that is valency of nitrogen. So in this compound in NO2 the valency of nitrogen is 4. Okay, now chemical equation. What is chemical equation? You have already studied in lower classes, that is a chemical equation is a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction using symbols and formula of substances involved in the reaction. Chemical equation is the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction using the symbols and formula of the substances involved in the reaction. Okay, and chemical reaction can be expressed in two ways. One is word equation, another is chemical equation. Okay, word equation means you have to write the name of the elements taking part in the chemical reaction. Like when carbon, burning of carbon means reaction between carbon and oxygen to produce carbon dioxide. So this is the word equation: carbon plus oxygen heat carbon dioxide, and the chemical equation is C plus O2 to CO2. Okay, and in any chemical reaction the substances undergoing in the chemical change are known as reactant, and the substances that are formed by this chemical reaction is known as product. Okay, so a chemical reaction tell us the substances that involved in the given reaction. Okay, and the substances that involved in the chemical reaction are known as reactant, and the substances that are formed as a result of the chemical reaction are called product. For example, in this reaction CuSO4 plus 2NOH arrow CuOH whole twice plus Na2SO4. In this reaction CuSO4 and NOH are reactant, and CuOH whole twice, that is cupric hydroxide, and Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate, are products. Now types of chemical reaction on the basis of number of reactant and product molecules. Okay, if uh, one reactant and two or more products, this type of reaction example are calcium carbonate heat, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. In this reaction, one reactant can produce two products, one is CaO, another is CO2. Similarly, heating of lead nitrate PbNO3, PbNO3 on heating decompose to give PbONO2 and O2. In this reaction, only one reactant and three products. Okay, there are some chemical reaction in which two reactants are involved and one product is formed. For example, when ammonia combine with HCl, it forms ammonium chloride, NH4Cl. NH4Cl. In this reaction, two reactant combine to form only one product. Similarly, when hydrogen combine with nitrogen, two type of reactant combine to give a single type product. Ammonia is formed in this reaction, N2 plus H2 arrow 2NH3. And chemical reaction may be in some chemical reaction two reactant and two product may be involved. Okay, example of such reaction, these are basically double displacement reaction, two reactant two product reaction. For example, when silver nitrate reacts with NaCl, it gives AgCl and sodium nitrate. You can see two reactants and two products are involved in this reaction. Similarly, when Na2SO4 reacts with BaCl2, it forms BaSO4 and NaCl. Okay, so these are two reactant two product reaction. And next type of reaction is two reactant and three or more products. Reaction involving two reactant and more than two or three products. For example, when copper reacts with sulfuric acid, it forms copper sulfate, water and sulfur dioxide. In this case, two reactants are involved and three type of products are formed. Okay, now see skeletal equation. What is a skeletal equation? It is actually unbalanced chemical equation is known as skeletal equation. Skeletal equation means unbalanced chemical reaction. Okay, so skeletal reaction, it is an equation that represents the chemical change but it is unbalanced. Or you can also say that in case of skeletal equation, the total number of atoms of each element on the two sides are not equal. Total number of atoms of each element on the two sides are not equal. For example, when potassium nitrate is heated, it form potassium nitrite and oxygen, KNO3 arrow KNO2 plus O2. In this reaction, you can calculate the number of each element on both sides. On both sides, number of potassium atom are 2 or 1. Okay, on both sides of this equation, number of potassium atom is same and number of nitrogen is also same, but number of oxygen on left side, number of oxygen atoms are 3 and on right side number of oxygen atom are 4. So this is actually unbalanced equation, and this type of reaction and equation are known as skeletal equation. Now see what is balanced equation. Balanced equation, it is an equation in which total number of atoms of each element in the reactant on the left side of the equation is the same as the number of atoms in the products formed on the right side of equation. That is, in balanced chemical equation, the number of each atom on both sides of the reaction are same. So first you have to know how to balance a chemical reaction. For example, when calcium carbonate is heated, it forms calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. In this reaction, you can calculate the number of each element on both sides of the equation, and you will see that number of atom of each element on both sides of equation is same. That's why this is actually balanced chemical equation. Okay, this is actually balanced, but see this one, KNO3 arrow KNO2 plus O2. In this reaction, this is not balanced because on both sides of the arrow, number of oxygen atom are not same. Okay, so in this reaction, since the number of atom of oxygen on both sides is not the same, the equation is not balanced. And how to balance? Just multiply KNO3 and KNO2 by 2, then you will get the balanced chemical equation. Okay, so the balanced chemical equation is 2KNO3 arrow 2KNO2 plus O2. Now calculate number of each atom on both sides of the equation, then you will see that number of each atom on both sides of the equation becomes same. Now question is, why should an equation be balanced? Why should an chemical equation be balanced? This is because according to law of conservation of matter or mass, you have to balance the chemical equation. Okay, otherwise unbalanced chemical equation violates the law of conservation of mass. Okay, and the law of conservation of mass state that matter is neither created nor destroyed in the course of chemical reaction. An unbalanced chemical equation would imply that atoms have been created or destroyed. That's why unbalanced chemical equation violates the law of conservation of mass. Okay, now how to balance a chemical equation? Two methods are there. One is hit and trial, and there is partial equation method. Partial equation method is not given in your syllabus, so you have to learn only about balancing of a chemical reaction equation by hit and trial method. This is very simple method. Okay, you have to give many trials to balance a chemical equation by putting different numbers in front of different reactant and product. Okay, but in the first step, to balance according to the hit and trial method, you have to follow some step. Okay, first you have to calculate the number of each element on both sides of the equation. First you have to count the number of each element on the both side of the equation, and the element with least frequency of occurrence is balanced first. First you have to balance the element which is present in a small number. Okay, least number with least number. And next, when two or more elements have the same frequency, that is when two or more elements are present in same number, then metallic element you have to balance first. Okay, for example, in this reaction Cu plus H2SO4 arrow CuSO4 plus SO2 plus water. In this reaction first you have to count. Step 1 is you have to count of number of different elements on both sides of the chemical equation. So you have to make a table like this: element, reactant side, product side. So copper on reactant side only one copper, on product side only one copper. Hydrogen on reactant side 2 hydrogen atom, and product side 2 hydrogen atom. And sulfur on reactant side only one sulfur, and product side 2 sulfur. And oxygen on reactant side on 4 oxygen atom, and on product side 7 oxygen atom, according to this reaction. Cu plus H2SO4 arrow CuSO4 plus SO2 plus water. Okay, now see, copper and number of copper and number of hydrogen in the equation are equal. Okay, so first you have to balance the metal first, that is copper. You have to balance copper atom first. Okay, copper and hydrogen are equal on both sides, so to equalize sulfur atom, multiply. Here in this reaction the copper to balance on both sides, and hydrogen also balance, so it is not required to balance copper and hydrogen. First you have to balance sulfur, because sulfur is unbalanced in this equation. On left side of the reaction only one sulfur, and on right side 2 sulfur atom. Okay, so first you have to balance sulfur, and to balance the sulfur multiply H2SO4 by 2. Just see, and then again count. Now after multiplying H2SO4 by 2, then number of hydrogen atom on left side on reactant side become 4. Okay, again you have to balance hydrogen atom on the right side, because after multiplying H2 over by 2, number of hydrogen atom on left side become 4. So but in on the right side it is 2, so again you have to balance number of hydrogen atom on right side. So to balance the number of hydrogen atom on the right side, multiply water by 2. Then after multiplying water by 2, it becomes like this. Okay, Cu plus 2H2SO4 arrow CuSO4 plus SO2 plus 2H2. Okay, and now see the equation is balanced. One more example is given. So such type of balancing you have to practice. Many examples are given here, you can see and you can practice from here. Okay, and this is a simple method, but you have to give many trials. Okay, you cannot solve, you cannot do a chemical balancing of a chemical equation without giving many trials. Okay, it is very simple, it's a very simple method, but you have to give many trials by putting different values in front of each type of reactant and products. And you have to follow this basic steps: step 1, step 2 and step 3. Okay, so see the balancing, many balancing are given, and you have to, in final exam you have to balance some chemical equation following using this following step. Okay, many examples are given. And heat and partial method, equation method, it is not given in your syllabus, so it is not required. Now see what information convey by a balanced chemical equation. Here one balanced chemical equation is given: NaOH, 2NaOH plus H2SO4, 2NO2SO4 plus 2OH2O. So above equation tell us about the actual result of chemical change, about the reactants involved and the product formed as a result of the reaction. The following equation tell us about the actual result of chemical change, about the reactants involved and which products are formed in the chemical reaction, and about the number of molecules of each reactant and product molecules in the reaction, about the chemical composition of respective molecules, that is their formula. Okay, and about the molecular mass. For example, in this reaction, 80 parts by weight of sodium hydroxide reacts with 98 parts by weight of sulfuric acid to produce 142 parts by weight of sodium sulfate and 36 part by weight of water. Okay, and it also proves the law of conservation of mass, that is total mass of the substance on either side of the equation is same. So this information conveyed by balanced chemical equation. Now see limitation of a chemical equation. A chemical equation does not tell us the physical state of reactant and product, whether the substances are solid, liquid or gas. Chemical equation does not tell us about the physical state of the reactant and products, and whether the substances are solid, liquid or gas, and about the time taken for the completion of the reaction. The time taken for the completion of the reaction, whether heat is given out or heat is absorbed during the chemical reaction, and the respective concentration of reactant and product. Okay, and the rate of reaction at which the reaction proceed. This information you cannot get from a chemical equation. Okay, so how to make a chemical equation more informative? So how to make a chemical equation more informative? To make a chemical equation more informative, you have to mention following points. Okay, additional information you have to mention in the balanced chemical equation. So information regarding temperature and pressure and catalyst you have to mention in the balanced chemical equation. For example, when nitrogen react with hydrogen, it forms ammonia gas. In this reaction, iron catalyst is used and molybdenum promoter is used. So name of catalyst and promoter also in mentioned here. And mm, and temperature and pressure for 50 degrees celsius and 200 to 900 atm pressure, all points, all information are mentioned in this equation. And this is actual more informative chemical equation. Okay, and physical state of reactant and product you have to mention. Okay, if the reactant and product are solid, then you have to write S beside the formula of the reactant or product, or if it is liquid, then you have to write L within bracket, and if it is gaseous substance, then you have to write G, and if it is aqueous solution, then you have to write AQ. Okay, for example, when zinc react with zinc metal, that is Zn solid, reacts with HCl aqueous solution of hydrochloric acid, that is HCl aqueous, it forms ZnCl2 aqueous solution plus hydrogen gas. And you have to mention whether heat is absorbed or heat is evolved. Okay, so chemical reaction proceed with evolution or absorption of heat. This information is provided by adding a heat term. Okay, in the first reaction heat is absorbed, in the second term heat is absorbed. Okay, and concentration of acid can also be added to the reaction to make the equation more informative. That is, it is the acid is dilute or concentrated, you have to mention. Okay, so using this additional information, you can make a chemical equation more informative. Okay, so again I'm saying, students, you have to solve many you have to balance many chemical equation. Okay, and if in exercise some chemical equations are also given, you have to solve, you have to balance this chemical equation. Okay, student, thank you.